How many credit cards is too many? Because the internet has some very strong opinions.
Some people say 2, others have 20, but the real answer depends on how you travel and how organized you are.
Today, we're breaking down when more cards actually help and when they start hurting.
If you've ever wondered whether you should open a new credit card or maybe hit pause, this episode is for you.
Hey, I'm Chris. Welcome to the Upgraded Points podcast.
And I'm Katie, and today we are answering that age-old question, how many credit cards is too many? So it should be an interesting discussion. We've also got some Capital One Lounge news and some reader questions. Before we get to all of that, don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you are watching or listening. And if you have questions or comments for us, you can reach us at podcast@upgradedpoints.com. Chris, let's get it started with the Capital One Lounge news.
Yeah, sad news. The day has come. As of yesterday, Capital One Lounge guest policy has changed. So now authorized users of Capital One Venture X and Venture X business cards no longer get automatic lounge access privileges. So that's bad news. This is one of our favorite cards because of that perk. We've had plenty of heads up for this change, but it is officially here. Now, if you would like your authorized user to get access, they can pay $125 annually per card, and that will get you in. You can enroll a maximum of 4 card holders per lounge access on the Capital One Venture X business card, and then there's no specified number of max on the Capital One Venture X card. Additional card holders will have their Priority Pass membership canceled as of yesterday. So if you go to try and use that, it's not going to be working. Cost of guests at Capital One lounges starting yesterday is now $45 per adult, $25 per child, ages 2 to 17. Kids under 2 are free. And if you are curious about these lounges, go check out episode 36. We did a deep dive on Amex versus Chase versus Capital One. But yeah, this is sad news for Capital One card holders.
Yeah, this is a bummer. The only positive I will say is their price per person for guests is like borderline acceptable. Like, okay, maybe I'd pay $25 to bring my kid in, but probably not.
I think the authorized user, so to clarify, you can still add an authorized user for free to these cards. They just won't get that lounge access. So that $125 is purely for lounge access. So if you were to think about it as paying for a Capital One Lounge membership almost by paying that $125, that also could be worth it. So you'll have to run those numbers and see if it makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. It's not as bad as some of the other lounge access, guest access numbers. So
yeah,
but a little bit of a bummer. Thankfully, we had notice. So yeah, there's that. Okay, so Chris, I have a question for you. How many credit cards is too many?
That is a great question.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah, asking for. I may be in the same friend as you, Katie. The answer we know can vary a lot. It just depends on who you're asking. One person may limit themselves to 1 or 5, but someone may be juggling 25 cards.
Just 25? Wow.
On a weekend.
So today we're going to share some ideas and advice to help you decide what your comfort level is. So you know if it's okay to submit another application or maybe it's time to cool off a bit because everyone's going to have a different number and you want to play the game within your comfort level.
Yeah. So I think before we get any further, we just need to make sure everyone understands that if you're going to be opening credit cards, you need to be paying your bill off every single month in full. That is rule number 1 in the points and miles game, because if you're carrying a balance and paying interest, you are losing the value of those points. It makes no sense. And we all know how quickly that credit card debt can ramp up. So number 1, pay off your bill every month. Just because you have a $20,000 limit on your credit card doesn't mean you go out and spend $20,000 a month. You treat it like a debit card. You're going to go spend what you normally would. Don't go chase, promotions and bonuses just to get extra points, unless it's really good. Just kidding. But yeah, as long as you're paying off every month, that is rule number 1.
Yeah, and that's so important, and it's a non-negotiable. And also, if you're doing that, not only will lose out at the value of those points, you will wreck your credit score.
Yeah.
And the game's over at that point.
Yeah,
So
and then you're not gonna get
number
approved.
one rule. Okay, so I wanted to talk about a myth that I hear a lot, and that is having too many credit cards is just terrible for your credit score. And as someone with probably, I don't know, between my husband and I, 30 plus cards, and we both have credit scores over 800, I'm here to tell you that that is not true. What Chris mentioned prior is the important bit of that. Your credit score will not be awful just by having all these cards as long as you're using your credit responsibly. So your score, yes, when you apply for a new card, your score might get dinged a few points, but then it can recover and even increase as long as you are using that credit responsibly. Your credit score is determined by lots of different factors, and there are three major organizations that will kind of give you a different score, and it can vary a little bit, but it's all going to be kind of in the same ballpark. Things like the age of your accounts. So having a really old credit card that you've had open forever and don't carry a balance, that's a really great thing. Your credit utilization ratio, which is how much credit you are using versus how much credit you have. So if you have that credit card with a $20,000 limit, but you have a balance over the month of maybe $1,000, that's great. But if you have a $20,000 balance on a card with a $20,000 limit, you're maxing yourself out, and that's going to ding your credit score. Your payment history is a huge one. If you miss a payment or late on a payment, I mean, that just tanks your credit score. And then also your credit mix. So whether that's a mortgage or car payment plus credit card, plus if you have any student loans or debt or anything, that particular mix that you have will affect your credit score as well. So the simple act of holding a lot of credit cards, that alone doesn't really affect your credit score as long as you are using them wisely.
No, not at all. And in fact, it can actually help because once you have more credit and you're still spending that very small amount, right? You're not changing your spending habits. That credit ratio is only increasing.
Yeah.
So.
Although I will say I got a notice, I forget what card it was. And they said my credit utilization was too small. I was like, isn't that a good I mean, it's it's like, I don't know, 1% or something. It's really small. Like, isn't that a good thing? I think they were just mad because I wasn't using the card a lot. But no, I mean, nothing happened. My score didn't go down. So
Interesting. What bank was it?
Capital One, I think.
Capital One. Okay.
Yeah.
I think Capital One, they closed one of my cards because I wasn't using it enough.
Oh yeah, so they threatened to do that to me on my Capital, or they threatened to lower my credit limit on my Venture X, and I was like, fine, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah, the Capital One. It was my oldest card, and they closed it. And I was like, that sucked, because that hurt my score because it reduced my age of my accounts.
Yeah.
So I think we'll cover that later in the show, but let's talk about right now, when is it time to cancel? When you cancel, not when the bank cancels your card. This time of year, it's actually a great time to do a wallet audit. It's a great time to look at each card that you have and calculate the benefit value versus the annual fee. You can look back at your previous year and see how many benefits you actually used, right? They all come with benefits, but if you're not using them, it's really not worth to have it. So you should be keeping track of all your cards. Many of us, old school, have been doing this for a while, use a spreadsheet. But there's some awesome new tools out there like card pointers we did an episode on that makes this whole process so much easier, that keeps track of all your benefits, your annual fees, and just makes this process, the decision-making, even easier. But the bottom line is, if you find yourself getting overwhelmed or losing track of credits, it's probably time to trim your wallet. For cards that you do decide to cancel, a couple rules to keep in mind. Make sure that they've been open for at least a year, because banks don't like it when you sign up, get that welcome bonus, and then cancel before the annual fee hits. Sometimes Amex has been known to claw back their welcome offers, so be careful there. If the annual fee isn't due yet, you can set a reminder to cancel close to the due date, so you can get a little bit, start those benefits out a little bit more. Make sure you use all those benefits before you cancel, and then there you go. Make sure you use all of those benefits. And for the cards that earn transferable currencies, make sure that you have another card open that will keep those points alive, maybe in the same ecosystem, or maybe they turn into cash back, or in the worst case scenario, transfer them out to a transfer partner that you'll likely be able to use them with.
Yeah. In a lot of scenarios, you can downgrade a card to a fee free card to keep those transferable points alive. Sometimes those fee free cards, depending on the program, might have different transfer ratios. Is it City? I believe is a little weird about that.
Hmm.
So just double check all that. But there are ways to keep your points alive if you need to cancel a card. And for airline and hotel cards, remember that those points that you earn live within the hotel and airline programs. So you can
Hmm.
cancel those cards and it's not going to affect your points at all. So that's an easy one. You don't have to do anything. Okay, so let's talk about something we were just mentioning a few minutes ago. Is it bad to keep cards open that you don't use? And like I said, I have 30 plus cards in my household. I'm not using all of those cards all the time. Most of them sit in my trusty credit card binder and don't get used. So generally, that's not going to cause problems. Although Chris and I were just mentioning,
Yeah.
two instances where it kind of did. In Chris's situation, it caused an actual problem. My situation, they kind of just sort of loosely threatened a potential problem. But generally, it's not going to cause issues. I've had cards, I've been doing this for over a decade. I have a lot of cards and a lot of them don't get used. And really, generally, that's okay. Sometimes, especially with, like, I've noticed this with Amex, if you have some cards open and you don't use them, that's okay, but it might affect you opening a new card within that program. My husband got himself in this situation, and by he got himself in, and I did because I manage all of our cards. He had no idea what was happening. He had a couple of Amex cards open. I wasn't putting any spend on him at that point, and that landed him in Amex pop-up jail, which just means that
Mm.
he wasn't able to get new sign-on bonuses for any credit cards. So yeah, maybe a little problem. It didn't ding his credit score or anything, so don't worry about that. And I was able to just start using some of those cards, and he was at an Amex pop-up jail, and I'm able to get him new
Perfect.
cards now. So generally, it's fine. Just pay attention if you get a letter that says we're going to lower your credit score. Um, you can either start putting spend on that card to not let that happen, or sometimes it happens. It's happened to me a few
Yeah.
times, and it's like, okay, fine,
Yeah, now
whatever.
I'm paranoid now. I do not want that to happen again. So all of my, sock drawer cards that I don't use for my everyday spend, every once in a while, I'll pull one out, go
Hmm.
buy something on Amazon, and I have them all saved in my Amazon account anyways. Make a small purchase there just so that there's some activity there,
Hmm.
so that they can't say, "Oh, you haven't used this card in 18 months or whatever." No, I'm just at least leaving some activity on there so that I won't be surprised again.
Yeah, you can also, if you have recurring charges, you can kind of divvy those up between all of your cards. So, one
Yeah.
card gets your electric bill, one card gets your water bill, one card gets your whatever phone bill. And then at least all of your cards have a little bit of activity enough to, keep the banks out of your hair. Okay. So I think the moral of the story here is, and unfortunately, we're not going to give you an answer to the question of how many cards is too many. So that might have been a bit of a
100.
teaser there.
100 is too many.
100 is too many. The number could be one. The number could be 40. It really depends on you, your specific situation, your comfort level, your ability to pay your bill on time in full every month. There's a lot of factors that go into it. So, you have to make that decision for yourself. Hopefully, we've brought up a few discussion points today to kind of help you think in the right direction to get to whatever that number is for you. And you don't have to have a specific number, but just know, like, I can't handle more than 3 credit cards. Know that about yourself and don't get swayed by, podcasts like us saying, "Look at this amazing welcome bonus." Yeah, it could be an
Hmm.
amazing welcome bonus, but if it gets you in a situation where you can't keep track of that and you start falling back on payments or whatever, it's not a good option. So just kind of
Hmm.
understand that about yourself and have fun in the game within those parameters.
Well said.
Yeah. Okay, so we actually have some reader questions that we wanted to go over today. First one is from Jackie via email. And Jackie says, I'm relatively new to points and miles, and I'm learning so much from your podcast. Thank you, Jackie. Appreciate that. I've heard about retention offers, but I'm not sure how to get one. Any advice? What do you think, Chris?
Great question. I love retention offers, and I don't think we talk about them much on the podcast, but they're an essential part, really, of opening cards and downgrading and closing. It's part of the cycle, at least in my experience. And for those listening who don't know what a retention offer is, it's when your annual fee has come up on a credit card, you can reach out to the bank and ask them if they have any offers to retain you as a client. So you can say, hey, listen, I really like this card, but I can't justify paying the annual fee, whatever it is. Do you have any retention offers? Just simple as that. Sometimes you can do through the chat. Sometimes you need to call. But these offers will generally be targeted to your account. So the representative will take a look and say, okay, well, we have this offer for you. And it could be almost like a mini sign-up bonus. If you spend $1,000 in the next month or 3 months, then we can give you 10,000 points. And these offers can vary depending on the card, from miles to cash back to points. But bottom line is, anytime you're considering closing a card, always ask for a retention offer first, because you never know it. They may just waive that fee automatically or give you some bonus points that make it worth keeping for another year.
Yeah. And it might be just me, but I feel like it's been harder to get retention offers in the last couple of years versus,
Yeah.
5-6 years ago. I feel like they were throwing them out like candy. And I have not had much luck recently. And also a few cards I'm lazy and I'm just like, what? I don't care. So I just cancel, which is probably,
Yeah.
not the best scenario. But like I asked for a retention offer for, I think it might have been that American Airlines Aviator card one year. And they gave it to me, but then it wasn't like a slam and deal. It was more or less like I spent something and they waived the annual fee. But then I ended up just with this card open again. And it was just something to manage. And I
Yeah.
wasn't excited about the card. And I think it was a good lesson because I think in hindsight on that particular card, I should have just canceled it and been done with it. And that kind of goes back to what we were talking about. Sometimes, you have to think about your mental space and like what you have the ability to handle
Sure.
and manage. And, if a welcome, if a retention offer worth $100 isn't worth the time and effort it takes to manage that card, that's something to think about too. But definitely I've had some good, especially through Amex, some good retention offers for cards that I actually do want to keep open.
Yeah. And Amex is nice because you can do it through the chat. You don't have to call.
Yeah. Because
if I have to call, it's already
forget it.
Especially if it's city. I don't know.
Oh gosh, no.
We've already talked about that.
I'm
just going to cancel.
Forget it.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. We have one more question. This one is from Don. He sent us an email. He says, I ended up with multiple Freedom Flex cards because I applied for one outright, and then I downgraded my Chase Sapphire Reserve card. I know that they don't have annual fees, so it's not costing me anything. But is there any downside to keeping two of the same cards like that? Should I cancel one or just leave them both open? Katie?
Really good question. So especially for no annual fee cards, there's really no downside to keeping them open. They're just going to add, history to your credit report. So that's always nice. But for that card specifically, the Freedom Flex is one where it's actually fantastic to have a couple accounts. And that's because that particular card has that 5x bonus every quarter. You get 5% cash back, which is given as 5 points per dollar on different categories every quarter. It's limited up to $1,500 in spend every quarter in those bonus categories. So that particular one, fantastic to have two of those, because especially on those quarters when you have a really nice category like a grocery store, you can max out both of those cards. I have an old Freedom card, and then we have 2 Freedom Flexes in my family. So absolutely keep those open. If it was a card, let's say like the Freedom Unlimited, which is just 1.5% cash back or 1.5 points per dollar on all purchases, there's really no reason to have 2 open, but there's also no reason to cancel. So, and it could kind of go either way. If it's an old card in that situation, I would leave it open. If it's a brand new card and you really have no interest and it's not one that you can product change to a different card, could cancel that one. But yeah, for the most part, no annual fee cars. Just leave them open. There's no reason not to.
Mm-hmm. Great question and great explanation, Katie.
Thank you. Okay, well, that's going to do it for us this week. If you have questions that you would like to ask us to answer on air, you can email us at podcast@upgradedpoints.com. And be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you are watching or listening. And be sure to share this with a travel-loving friend. And we will see you next week.